If you are looking for a fast and furious floating foam elongated, this is your paddle. It really is as if the Boomstick and the Luz Inferno had a baby, a lightweight baby. You can see from the X-ray, it actually even has internal weighting similar to the MOI. The construction, obviously, floating foam, this is MPP, so it's a little more crisp and stiff, I guess some people would describe it as, although I wouldn't go that far. I like the word crisp than stiff. But wow, I've been looking for something lighter. I do love the Boomstick. I think these are the most offensive paddles in the game. I love the Inferno even more because I love the soft, dwelly, thunk-thuddiness of this. And I'm a huge Loco fan, but I cannot play the elongated Loco. Mine is 123 swing weight. So I did talk to Doug about this. I mean, they're just making so many of these. The variations in the statics and the swing weights are kind of big, and you just don't know what you're going to get. These are kind of heavy as well. I actually had to, they sent me one that was like a 122 swing weight, the Inferno, and then I got two more before I actually got a 117 swing weight Inferno. The Boomsticks are kind of heavy too with the MOI, so I was looking for something lighter and faster that's almost as offensive or is as offensive with weight. And this is the answer, because you can weight this up to your liking, and wow. I'm just going to mention, I'll talk about specs, but the thing that makes this stand out and exceptional is I don't know of another elongated that has this low of a swing weight and this high of a twist weight. So it does have, remember, these are these floating foams. In fact, these two in particular in the Loco as well, the sweet spots on the Boomstick elongated, I mean, we've yet to see, I mean, these are incomparable sweet spots. You can bounce a ball anywhere on the face of these and you get a consistent response. This is the same way. It's not as, and I'm going to kind of walk through feel and power and so forth, but it has a huge sweet spot. It's not as dwelly and thunk-thuddy as the Luz, and it's not as hard to control as the Boomstick in terms of its pop. So the only thing I'm going to mention about the dimensions that's interesting too is you'll see it's a little bit shorter and wider. I don't know if you can see in the video, but it's supposed to be 16.46 and then 7.51 in width. I don't know if the width really is any larger, but it does seem to be, like if I compare it to the Loco, it's just got a, it seemed like it was just a tiny bit shorter, negligible. It also, it's a 16 millimeter, but it almost feels like a 14 because it's so light. I'm not sure how they got this to be so light with the internal weighting. So when I talk about specs, I don't want to pick on any brands, but I was impressed by AIREO because their website was really accurate. Some of these other brands are saying the swing weights and the static weights of their paddles, particularly the elongated, are, you know, below 120 or averaging 120, and then it's kind of hard to find the lower end of that range. This really is coming in as they are saying on their webpage. So their averages are 7.8 static, plus or minus 1.5 or 0.15, which is fantastic. Swing weights of 117 and twist weights of 6.5. I'm hearing other people's paddles, Matt's Pickleball, they are matching up with what the website is saying. Mine was 7.62 static weight, a swing weight of 113, and a twist weight of 6.36. I mean, this is fantastic. I'm gonna go straight into my weight setup because immediately, just with a little bit of weight, you can bring this elongated up to above a 7.0 twist weight, which is just fantastic. I mean, you could play it without weight, but I just think the weight stabilizes it a little bit. It's not like it gets pushed around, but it does give it a little more stability in plow, and it just broadens that sweet spot. These floating foams are so responsive to weight, so if you can add a little weight, it's always going to make them play a little nicer. So I only added 3 grams here at the cheeks, but my static just went up to 8.08, my swing weight only to 118, just under 118, and then a twist weight of 7.07. So this thing is just fantastic. Balance point right at 24 centimeters. Still so fast in hand, moves through the air just incredibly. So I want to talk about feel, and it is different than, so that I'll have a little spectrum of kind of feel for you, and this is kind of in the middle, the Loco. Obviously the Luz Inferno and the Gearbox, they're the most kind of catapulty, catch and throw, very dwelly. Some people like that feel. I really love that feel. So it was surprising to me how much I like this, because this Cyclone is not nearly as dwelly, and it's not catch and throw. It is more near the Boomstick end of the spectrum. I don't think it's quite as poppy as the Boomstick. It's definitely not as hard to control. So I'm used to plush, and surprisingly, I do think there's enough dwell. It definitely gets great spin, but it has platform dwell, which is wonderful. So it doesn't have as much isolated dwell and ball pocketing as some of these others, but it doesn't make it harder to control. In fact, when I'm gonna kind of transition into control from feel, at first I thought this feel was what I like the most for control, but one of the problems, and if you go back and watch, it's been since, I don't know, August maybe, Chris Olsen did a neat thing about a 3-week follow-up on his gearbox once it was worked in, the GX2 Power. And he was maining the paddle at the time. But he said once it worked in, it almost got too catapulty and a little unpredictable. You just have to be careful about the catapult of, for example, the Inferno, because that grab and throw, when balls are incoming fast, sometimes you just can't control that catapult type throw. This is very predictable. It is poppier, but it's crisp off the face and no catapult, so you kind of get used to. You do have to have a loose grip, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is I actually hit fewer outballs with the crisp Cyclone than I do with the Luz Inferno, because it's just a little more predictable, and there's less, I guess this is the best way to put it, less boing. So if you're good and comfortable with the amount of boing and you can control that, I do love this. But this is sort of my scale back, actually, as weird as it sounds, because it is poppy. I'm not hitting like hard serves or volleys, and maybe it's because it's quicker. So maybe I'm getting the paddle in position better, but I feel it's easier to control than both the Boomstick and the Luz Inferno, definitely more so for me than the Gearbox as well. I'd say it's close to the control of the Loco. Now, I've played my hybrid Loco more than anything, and a lot. I mean, I've almost mained it. I've played it so much. But it too has a little bit of a, you know, it's got that fiberglass face and a little bit of flex. So you get a little bit of propulsion, a slight bit of nonlinear power. This is not, for some reason, for a floating foam, is fairly linear, oddly. You're gonna have to control the pop, but once you get used to that, I think it's probably not as easy as the Loco, not even as easy as the Avatar or the VSOL Pro. I'd say those three are probably a little bit easier to control or adjust to, but you're gonna get a little more offense from this too. And once again, when it's weighted, the sweet spot is unbelievable on here. Bounce a ball anywhere off the face, and it's consistent. It also is a standout for me in that it has this really low ball trajectory off the face. So tipping drives, in fact, my games at the net, I feel like I can be aggressive with dinks more than usual with this, because it just puts so much on a dink. And we'll walk through the points, but boy, the kitchen play here with this, because it's so quick, is fabulous. I know a lot of people are excited to see a power lineup. I don't think many people debate this top 10. There's several databases, John, Braden, Matt. Almost everyone's finding, and of course this depends on the swing weight of the paddle, how much it's worked in, but those first three, the Flick F1, the E6 Zephyr, the 6.0 Opal, those are probably the most powerful paddles right now that are USAP approved. Depending on, that's the Ripple V2 R1, depending on the swing weight of your Ripple, because remember those came in pretty high, that ends up being pretty powerful still. So I know I don't see a lot of people playing those anymore, but I think they're still a great relevant power paddle if you can control them. And then I put my wide body Boomstick in the picture, but I really mean the elongated there. So the elongated Boomstick is definitely in the top 5, as is, I mean, the gearbox comes close depending on its swing weight and how worked in it is. And then there's in our top 10 are both the Luz, the Tornado and the Inferno. I'm pretty sure the heavier Inferno hit harder than my Tornado, but now that I have a lighter Inferno, it's not hitting as hard. So again, this is going to really depend on swing weight. We're talking about not even a half a mile an hour difference in serve speeds. And the Cyclone falls right in there. And if you put weight on it, it could pass up either of those two. So it does have as much power as the Inferno, particularly, and I'm not even talking about pop. I mean, it definitely has more pop than the Inferno, and I think more pop than the Tornado as well. I want to work my way through a point or through gameplay and just talk about how the paddle performs so you get a feel for what it's like. So near max legal power here, so your serves and drives are going to be fantastic. Low ball trajectory, excellent dipping spin. You're going to kill your overheads, no problem. The only place where I see this as being an adjustment is as you work your way through the kitchen. So you're going to have to loosen your grip on defense through the transition zone. It's not going to be the easiest for drops and resets because it's a little poppy, so you kind of have to get used to that. But it has a low trajectory, so I'm not popping it up as much as I pop up Boomstick balls. And it's just so offensive. I mean, you can hit winners from midcourt just awesomely with this. And then the kitchen. The kitchen is a place where this shines. As I already said, I feel so good about my dinks with this because if you can keep them above the net, they're just nice and low and spinning and aggressive. But more so than that, your hands battles at the kitchen will be won with this thing. I mean, the only thing that's better at the kitchen probably is the Boomstick. And you might be better at the kitchen with the Cyclone because it's lighter and faster and you can adjust the weight to how much you can handle, so to speak. And it's got this crazy great sweet spot too. So your counters are going to be awesome. Your speed ups are excellent with this paddle. Can't say enough about how great it plays at the kitchen. I always want to be, people make fun of me when I get excited about paddles. I really only do individual reviews when I think a paddle is like really worthy of an individual review. So I do tend to get excited about these, but I appreciate that every paddle isn't for everyone. So I am going to say this is a high level power paddle with a lot of pops. So if you're not quite a 4.0, I'm not sure I'd recommend it, although I'm constantly hearing people say they just want a for fun power paddle. And they're choosing things like the E6 Zephyr, which is a great choice, or the Opal, which is also a great choice. Those are super powerful. But the reason I would say, you know what, this is an even better for fun paddle is the sweet spot. I mean, you'll actually play better with this, only because, and I don't want to pick on the Zephyr or the Opal because I do like them, but they do have some fall off the sweet spot and a hot spot in the center. So if you hit that hot spot, you really have to have a lot of topspin, which is true of this paddle too. I mean, you're gonna sail out balls if you haven't yet developed your topspin really well, and if you can't get your paddle in position. So it is more for an advanced player if you're gonna play it seriously, but it's also a great for fun paddle if you're just looking for something like that. I'm trying to think of other reasons why not to buy. I mean, $170, it's not, you know, a $99 Vatic Pro, so it's not that as much of a value as that or the Quantas. But I think $170 compared to the Boomstick, $333 or whatever it is, this is an excellent choice for in the top 10 power paddle. I always want to close by saying I appreciate your viewing, and if you'll like and subscribe, that really helps to support the channel. I love to grow the channel. I'm enjoying this greatly. Also, if you can use the code, that does help me to get the support of the companies, letting them know that I am helping people find right fit paddles. But you can get this AIREO Cyclone through AIREO directly at their website, and if you use my code DRPRICE, it's only $170. So hope to see you in the next one.